Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Friday the 13th, Part 3 in 3D. No, I'm just kidding, just 2D. I didn't watch the 3D version, even though this came with the option to watch it in 3D. I also had the option to watch it in 2D because I don't have 3D glasses, unfortunately, so we're stuck with 2D, and I'll get into that later on, but overall, I found this movie to be less funny bad than the second movie, but about as entertaining as the second one as well, but much better than the first movie and the remake. I like the kills in this movie. I think they're really fun and entertaining, and I thought the movie was well paced despite it being 10 minutes longer than the second movie. And even though it was longer, it didn't feel stretched out to the point where it was insanely boring. And in this movie, Jason Voorhees does get his hockey mask. And for those who don't know, this is the first movie that Jason Voorhees got a hockey mask. In the previous movie, he had just like a mask on and like a hole as an eye hole so he can see just for the one eye. And in the first movie, he wasn't even in it really, except for like 10 seconds at best. There were some flashback sequences in this movie, and I thought they were really cheesy and hilarious. And the characters in this movie are really annoying, and a lot of them are just there to be killed. And luckily, they die in entertaining ways, but there wasn't anything super special about a decent amount of them, and most of the characters aren't even developed really. Some of them are just drug addicts, and that's all you have for them. And there's nothing else to them. And the comedy in this movie, intentional comedy I mean, falls really flat for me, and none of it landed because it just didn't earn its tone, or like that kind of tone. I was never into it. I didn't like any of the characters, and it's basically the same thing as the second movie, except a bit longer and in ways more entertaining. But by the end of it, would I say it's a good movie? No. It's like in the same ballpark as the second movie, but that's really all I can say about it, is that it was the same thing as the second movie. I'm so used to saying the first movie. It was like the second movie, but a little bit different because it was made to be in 3D, and all the 3D moments in this movie were so funny, and I loved them, and that was probably my favorite part of the movie. And I watched this with my mom because she likes horror movies, and every time like a 3D, like something would be in 3D, we would just shout out 3D 3D. Like you see an arrow coming towards the screen or a yo-yo coming towards the screen, like really close, you go like 3D 3D. And if you can watch it in a group who will yell out 3D every time something like that happens, you will have a really great experience, I feel. The music in this movie was pretty much on the same quality level as the previous two movies. It was there. It didn't really add to the experience. And in a lot of the scenes that it was used inappropriately. Like, you're supposed to feel tension and suspense because Jason Voorhees is chasing after a character. And the key to suspense is silence. But this movie doesn't really do that because it's just trying to keep you entertained, and I like that about it, is that it's just trying to entertain you, and that's about it. And that's what I got out of it, so I guess that's a good thing, even if the package we got was kind of a mess and not good. I was never really bored. And I guess if I'm judging this movie as to whether or not I was bored, because this movie's sole purpose is to entertain you, and that's about it, and maybe scare you, I guess, but its main focus is to entertain you, even though it is taking itself kind of pretty seriously a lot of the time. If you are entertained by it, then the movie did its job, and that was the goal of the film, in my opinion, and it did its job, even if it is kind of unintentionally funny. But I was entertained, so good job. And that's about all I have to say about Friday the 13th, Part 3 3D, I guess. I'll just call it Part 3 and leave out 3D. Even though a lot of my enjoyment came from it being shot in 3D, I'm just going to say Part 3. It was entertaining, and that's all I got out of it. In terms of, like, interesting characters, horror, music, anything that I'm looking for in a good horror movie, this movie does not have any of those elements, but entertainment, it gives me that, and that's why I'm not mad that I saw this movie. So if you're a fan of Friday the 13th movies, I would say start from part 2 and just go from there. And I find these movies pretty entertaining, like in the same ballpark as Saw for me, where I'm just laughing at it. And it is pretty fun for me, and I would say that at this point, I am a fan of Friday the 13th. Even though I don't think any of these movies are good, I am a fan of these movies just because 2 and 3 are really entertaining to me. If any of this sounds interesting to you, then I guess check it out. And with all that being said, I'm going to give Friday the 13th Part 3 a 5 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of Friday the 13th Part 3, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Hotel Transylvania 2. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.